Welcome to Thinking Out Loud, conversations for the Ignite Her Collective. I'm Gabrielle, and around here, we don't chase motivation, we build ignition. This is for the women who've done everything right, the business, the family, the goals, but still feel like something's missing. In this space, we talk about what comes after success, the moments where your fire starts to flicker, and the identity work that reignites it. Because you don't need more pep talks or productivity hacks, you need safety, rhythm, and belonging that actually lasts. So take a breath, settle in, and let's think out loud together. Hello and welcome back to Thinking Out Loud, conversations for the Ignite Her Collective. If you're new here, I'm Gabrielle, founder, coach, business owner, mum of three and wife. And this space is where we slow the noise just enough to hear what's actually going on underneath in our lives. So this episode feels especially alive right now. I've just come back from a founders retreat in the Gold Coast hinterland, and I'm also preparing to sit on a panel early next year chatting about the importance of community for women and families in the trade industries. And like so many of us, I've been sitting with what's happened in Bondi over the weekend. Moments like these have a way of cutting through our busyness. They really remind us that safety isn't just physical, it's relational, it's emotional. It's about knowing that you're not alone when the ground feels really unsteady. So, today I want to talk about community, not as a buzzword, but as something far more essential. So, as women, we're constantly traversing life stages, not neatly, not one at a time, but layered. Motherhood, business ownership, partnerships, leadership, grief, growth, reinvention, and often all at once. And every time we move through one of these stages, especially when we don't have the language for what's changing, our nervous system really feels it. It feels the tension, the fatigue, the sense of something shifting, but I can't quite name it. We're taught to push through these moments, to self manage and be strong. But here's what I've learned both personally and professionally: transitions are not meant to be navigated in isolation. And that's something that I've really personally, I've learnt the hard way. So they stretch us, and stretch systems need containment, not more pressure. To be held, to have that space to just be. I was really reminded of this so clearly at that founders retreat that I've just come back from. And not because of the strategy, not because of the tactics or the business growth conversations, which, mind you, were absolutely next level, but it was because of what happens when you're in a room with women who actually get the season that you're in, where you don't have to explain your context. You can speak half a sentence and be met. There's something profoundly regulating about being witnessed without having to perform, about not needing to be impressive or inspiring or always on. Having community around you really shortens the distance between I'm fine and getting to the real truth of what's actually happening for you. And when you're the one holding it all together everywhere else, being held somewhere really matters. This is something that's been sitting with me as I prepare for that panel that I mentioned earlier about community for women, particularly those partnered with men in the demanding industry like the trades industries. But honestly, it's not a niche area, it's universal, and especially with women raising families and running businesses. There's the long hours, the emotional labor, literally and figuratively, the invisible load, the solo stretches of parenting. I'm currently doing that myself now. My husband's away for the week working, carrying that mental map of everybody else's needs and putting yours at the bottom of the list. Community isn't a nice to have for women holding families and businesses together. It's actually load bearing. And when we don't have it, we don't just feel lonely, we feel unanchored. And I want to say something important here, because not all community is equal. We've all heard of the phrase, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And while it can sound a little bit cliche, there's truth in it, especially when you're already stretched. The question isn't just, do I have people around me? It's, how do I feel after I've been with them? Do you feel energized or drained? Expanded or restricted? More yourself or like you need to shrink or explain yourself? Because your nervous system is always taking notes. It knows which rooms are safe and which ones require you to armor up. Sometimes the people around us aren't doing anything wrong. They're just no longer right for the season that we're in. Outgrowing a space doesn't mean that you're ungrateful. It means that you're evolving. The most supportive communities don't demand sameness or feel like a weight around your ankles. They allow movement. I want to share something honestly because I know I'm not alone in this. Some of my toughest years in business and as a mother were also the years I felt most isolated. Not because I had no community, I did. I was part of a large entrepreneur program that cost me a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, I met some incredible people, but it still felt distant. Everyone was consumed with their own businesses, their own growth, their own survival. There wasn't a space for what I was actually going through. I didn't feel safe showing the stage that I was really in. The exhaustion, the doubt, the cracks. There was fear of judgment, fear of looking like I was failing in business, fear of being behind. And when I really needed someone, when things were heavy, I slipped through the gaps. That experience taught me something important. Access isn't the same as attunement. Being in the room doesn't mean that you're being held. Community without that containment can still leave you feeling really alone. No one did anything wrong. It's just that the structure wasn't built for the season that I was currently in. And that's why I believe so deeply now that community has to be designed with a nervous system in mind, not just people's ambition for their businesses. Especially for women traversing motherhood, leadership, identity shifts, we don't need more rooms, we just need better ones. Events like what happened in Bondi on the weekend remind us of this in a much deeper way. Even if we weren't there, even if it didn't touch our immediate lives, our systems still felt it, especially as women, especially as mothers. In times of collective shock, community becomes how we actually regulate, how we process, how we remember our humanity. Sometimes it's not about having the answers, it's about the proximity, a conversation, a message, sitting beside someone. These aren't the small things, they're how safety is rebuilt in real time. I've been sitting with the idea that not all community needs to be loud or constant for that matter. Some seasons call for something quieter, smaller, more intentional. Spaces where you don't have to explain your whole backstory, where you can land exactly as you are, recalibrate, and leave clearer than you arrived. I've been slowly creating rooms like this behind the scenes, not programs, not performances, just places for women to pause, reflect, and re anchor themselves while life is changing. Because when the world feels loud, clarity doesn't come from more noise, it comes from the right container. Bring on the year of the horse, I say. So I want to leave you with a few gentle questions. You don't have to answer them all, just notice what stirs inside. Where in your life are you traversing something alone? Who actually knows what season you're in, not just what you're producing? What kind of community would support who you're becoming, not who you used to be? And what would that feel like? You don't need more strength, you need more connection in the right places. If this episode stirred something, let it be an invitation to reach, not retreat. Community isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Thanks for thinking out loud with me. And remember, you don't need to rise harder, you just need to rise anchored. You've been listening to Thinking Out Loud for the Ignite Her Collective. If today's episode moved you, share it with a woman who's ready to reignite. Subscribe for next week's reflection and remember, it's not about doing more, it's about doing it anchored.